have a Trump fan, obviously. Trump dress lady. Yes. What made you create this dress and how exactly did you do this?
Well, you can't just show up at a Donald Trump rally without making a statement, so I figured my husband and I, he helped me make this dress. It's made out of paper and it's my third in the collection. This is my spring collection. I've been to 3 rallies, so I have to have a dress.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Trump, Heather Olivia Shannon, PCC Rights Magazine. What is your message to the college students of America?
Stay with me, we're gonna get you jobs. There's the biggest problem I have. I go and meet college students, they get out, they work hard, they put debt up to their neck, and then they can't get a job when they graduate. Because the jobs we have are all bad jobs. We're not creating good jobs. The good jobs are going away, they're going off the country. They're going out of our country. Pfizer is leaving and moving to Ireland. It's disgraceful. We're gonna get them jobs.
In the Oval Office with the President of the United States, there were 2 things that he said. He said, when he was describing how he wanted me to handle responsibility as his press secretary, he said, the first thing you should know is, I'm not gonna watch your briefing. In part, that was because he was pretty obviously too busy with much more important things to do than to watch television, particularly to watch somebody who worked for him be on television. But the second thing that he said is, he said, if there's ever anything you need to know before you walk into that briefing room, come and ask me. Come and ask me. Tell my assistant you need time on my schedule, and I will make time to see you before you walk out there. Because I want to make sure that what you're saying about what I think is accurate.
During my interview with CNN political commentator and former senior advisor to and spokesman for Mitt Romney's 2012 U.S. presidential campaign, Kevin Madden said we should not stop comparing President Trump to former presidents. The fact is, this is a diversion of the norms, worthy of observation, Madden said of the Trump presidency. Madden also mentioned the media's voice in a bold new era with new vigilance and accountability. This is a rapidly changing, transforming industry. Technology is changing. Reading habits are changing. Changing of information. Always study the habits and stay one step ahead, Madden said. The Wall Street Journal's White House reporter Eli Stokel said there can be accountability in citizen journalism while there is skepticism about all media. Stokels also said the public should be skeptical of stories that do not offer fully accurate content. If one article or media outlet tries to attack one side in particular, he said, it will be obvious. There can be accountability, he said. The truth will become clear. My next interview was with DeRay McKesson, a civil rights activist and well-known supporter of the Black Lives Matter movement. He was a panelist for the forum Trump and the Resistance.
In 19 cities across the country, it's more likely to be killed by a police officer than a private citizen. That is wild. Or like, you ask people what a felony is, and most people think that felonies are like, everybody blew up a building, killed 50 people, like that is like what felons are to people. And in Virginia, if you steal something, theft over $200 is a felony, and you lose your right to vote permanently. That's so wild.
You said the internet is a power, DeRay. It can give people the point, but protesting in person, people are interacting all bodies all at once. Could you further explain what it feels like to be protesting with that amount of people all together?
Yeah, so one of the things that protest does is it builds community, as we all talked about in the panel. When I think about being in the street in Ferguson and Baltimore and cities across the country, the internet is one of the things that brought us together, that showed us where to go, that helped us understand what strategy looked like, and that continues to be powerful. I think that we're actually just at the beginning of understanding the power of the internet to change the world and definitely to change the way that we organize.
Thank you. And my last question is, what can we, the citizens, do to be the resistance?
So start organizing where you are. Remember that Harry Tubman didn't call me and tell me to be an organizer, that I thought there was a problem and I tried to do something about it, and I think that's the story of all the best organizers. They start where they are. It often starts with 1, 2, 3 people in a kitchen, in a living room, at a coffee shop, trying to put together a plan for change, and that is how I think change happens.
Mr. Gonchine, what is your message to the college students in America pursuing their careers and working for major agencies such as the United Nations, embassies, and other international workforces?
That's interesting. Career advice. Great. Of course, mostly people like you graduated from this major would try to make something in a civil society, right? And I think in terms of I'm not sure how to say. Very difficult for me to because in China, people like you, professionals, would choose governmental organizations in the first choice. But in the Western countries, perhaps you would choose like the NGO in the first place rather than governmental organizations, and because of this particular subject, And secondly, I believe that today, countries like the United States, developed countries, including China and other, fast advancing countries, are experiencing very rapid changes. This kind of change make people find it very difficult to adapt ourselves to the society, and people like you have a very rich knowledge about in humanity, right? In the governance and. Perhaps in NGO, in various kinds of NGOs in countries like the United States and other European countries, people like you, professionals, would play a very positive role, and that is something about creating the public good. As far as the individual experience is concerned, I graduated from a major of international relations, and so therefore I work in an institution like this. This is a governmental think tank. I think it quite fits me. But in the United States, I'm not quite sure. People like me would like to choose the governmental organizations as a first choice. I'm not quite sure.
Olivia Shannon reporting for Texas Tech University here at George Mason University. Today we're listening to the summit, and there will be Mr. Tucker Carlson, Mr. Paul Begala, and former presidential candidate Carly Fiorina. Stay tuned, Texas Tech. Olivia Shannon live reporting for Texas Tech University at the Smithsonian Museum in Washington, D.C.
Olivia Shannon live from the Presidential Inauguration Leadership Summit.
This is Heather Olivia Shannon reporting for Texas Tech University. Journalism and electronic media students, communication students, stay tuned. We're about to hear Tucker Carlson live. And this is Heather Olivia Shannon live reporting for Texas Tech University.
That if we're patient and we continue to improve and we just continue to grow up, we're going to be a pretty good football team for something. They just have to keep their heads up, and it's a learning experience. And I hate to say, like Jason Garrett always says, but it is a process. It does take some time. But our guys grew up and they improved, and that's all I can ask.
All right, so much.
You're very welcome. Thank you.
Today we have with us Myron Morgan at Estee Lauder Counter in Fort Worth, Texas at Dillard's. So great to have you at IR.
Thank you so much for having me. Wow, what a pleasure. You caught me off guard, but we're always ready, right, for any questions.
So how long have you been doing these?
We're going on 8 years now, and currently I'm with Estee Lauder. Out of those 8 years, 3 with this amazing brand that really has something to offer for everybody. And I hope to continue here for a longer time. So.
I've seen your videos, they're very impressive, but how long does it take to get a really good makeup?
It depends on what you're going for. I would say give yourself at least an hour so you can really play up, and especially if you're exploring different products, but at least a good hour.
And I also see that you have really great contour right now. Exactly.
Contour, the best advice is never buy things that say contour, because they're a little bit of work. So what I like to do is use your same foundation in a darker color with a soft brush. It's like you're putting foundation on with a darker color. You have more control, it blends. My favorite brush is right here, which is our blush brush. And you just use anything that's darker in a creamy formula on top of your foundation that is wet. Will blend better. Not like Instagram tribal marks where they would do lines. Looks like sort of tribe, and then you would blend it. You just get a deeper color with this brush. It blends as it goes, and you get there faster.
Well, that sounds great. So you're from Miami, Florida, right?
Yes.
How was traveling in Texas?
Good. I slept very little. Actually, I slept in the complain, but it's always good. I love Texas. It's almost like a second home. I love the people here. Everyone is so nice, and you know, feels like home because my job is the same everywhere.
Do you have any advice for Texas that want to come here?
Well, right now it's very wet, so wear everything that you're wearing waterproof. Make sure that it says at least long wearing, if not waterproof, I would suggest. And overdo it. Always overdo it.
And also, new makeup users, what advice do you have?
New makeup users, don't be afraid. Don't pay attention too much on what other people are doing because it can restrict you. And go to the makeup counter and, of course, always say, I'm here to explore. So that way, the person helping you has their mind open to want to dig and really help you learn what makeup is all about.
And also, if you want people to remember you for one thing, what would that be?
If I want people to remember me for one thing, what would it be? Happiness, you know? Just always be happy. This is supposed to be fun. That's it. Fun and happiness.
And where can we find you online?
So online, you guys can follow my social media at myron.morgan. You can also follow my artistic Facebook, which is Serena Chacha, SerenaChacha. Those are my most important two social media platforms, and I'm always constantly updating everything I'm up to on those.
Thank you so much for
Thank you for all your time. My pleasure.